Hello, Mark and Cheryl Larson here for the Dreamcatcher podcast. Actually, we're at this beautiful area in Hastings, Nebraska, where actually there had been a building and it burned down and they put a green space here. And actually, I was just looking at it. Was originally there was a Kip cigar factory here back at the beginning of the 1900s. So, which is find interesting. But no, right now it's beautiful green space. They got a little water fountain behind us, and so we're gonna do since we don't have to have the internet. Um, we can do podcasts everywhere, so we're doing it here. So are you ready, Cheryl?
I guess.
So we have our coffee.
Oh,
so
yeah.
so we're ready.
Mark
So
without his coffee.
so we're going to talk about something that keeps people from numerous things that keep people from getting their dreams. And one of them, there's many limiting mindsets basically, and one of them is imposter syndrome. And it's like you're not good enough. Why would anybody want to listen to what I have to say? I had that when I started this podcast. There's occasionally I do, it's like, why would anybody want to listen to us talk? And but that mindset, when you don't think you have anything to offer the world, keeps you from putting anything out in the world. And
It's safe.
yeah, it is safe, and it is, it's tough putting yourself out there. Even if you thought there's always going to be critics. Let me tell you. And I've been very blessed that I haven't had that many, but you just kind of got to just move on and just, you're not going to satisfy everybody, but you can't let that keep you from moving on and getting what your dream is or what you really want to do down deep down in your heart. And but I just imposter syndrome is sneaky because you're going along, and I think I've kind of gotten over it, and then it creeps up, and it's like, yep. But you just gotta say, yes, I am. I'm good enough. I've got God put me on this planet to my voice, whatever He put me on this planet for. There's people waiting for me to show them how to do something, to hear what I have to say, or whatever it is. So what do you think on that, Cheryl?
Well, I think everyone has that. I mean, it's enough that they have a name for it, so
Yeah,
imposter syndrome. But I think it goes back to, when you're a kid, you're so desperate to be included in things because it's like a primal deal for everyone. When you were back in caveman days, so to speak,
yeah, it does
there
go back
was
to
only a
that.
few people, and if you take somebody off, it meant that you weren't going to survive. And
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes, like, it feels like in high school, if you tick off the wrong person or you become
Yeah,
their favorite pet project, so to speak, that you're not going to survive that. And so I think those things live in you in spots that you don't really know. They don't get the light of day, and all of a sudden it kind of seeps out.
it
We were
does.
talking with someone who's recently discovered that they're very ill, and she really has not dealt with the grief of that. And I was basically telling her that you need to honor that. Right now you're in the mode where you're taking care of things, and but it's going to sneak up and hit you on the back of the head. And I think that's the same thing with this imposter syndrome,
Yep.
that you're doing your stuff and you think you're doing okay, and then someone says some offhand comment or is purposely trying to
Yeah,
get in your
because
way.
there are people that'll do that.
Yeah, because there are some people that enjoy being mean. Let's just put it that
Jerks.
way. Yeah, I could use another word,
Me too.
but or they say something that triggers something that you got said to you in school or wherever, and we react to that, and your body remembers those things, even if you consciously don't. So it is a struggle for everyone.
It is, and I mean, and I know some of my mine comes from school. I was very quiet, and it's like I was kind of made to feel, which a lot of was in all in my head, to not be worth saying anything, you know, and I was kind of kept down, but not anymore. So this is podcast episode 203. So we're moving right along here. So yeah, imposter syndrome is one thing that is keeps a lot of people down from what they really truly want to do. And it like anything, it's a journey, and you have to just keep on moving step by step. And then when it creeps up, you just gotta like no. And so, but moving on to another thing, I'm too old. That's one thing I hear a lot. I'm too old to learn anything like that. There because I have people in 60, in 61. We're both in their 60s. It's like gosh, how did you guys learn that? You know, how long you been doing Facebook, or how long you been doing whatever? And a lot of that I don't remember. But it's just like, it's like learning anything. And I think, like I've said before, we always get out of school and we think we're done learning, and that is definitely not the case in today's world. You got to keep learning to keep relevant. But I find learning kind of fun, don't you, Cheryl?
Well, and that's one thing I admired about my father. He had a doctorate and was someone who actually went back to community college in his retirement years because he wanted to help my brother fix up his Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
And it was something that they even, when he graduated, because he got a mechanic certificate, I'm sure I've spoken about this before, that, the guy told him he should, well, he didn't tell him, he was making comment to someone else, and my father overheard, and they wanted to get rid of the old man. And so, of course, my father, that was the best way to get him to do something, is to tell him he couldn't.
And a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but when they had the graduation ceremony, my dad wore his cowl and his, all the accoutrements that goes with the doctorate, and he's sitting next to a kid that had on, a cowboy hat and cowboy boots and a t-shirt, kind of a thing. It was a marked difference as far as the amount of education.
Yep.
But the dean of the college actually went to a junkyard and got an emblem off of an old Mustang and put it on a plaque and presented that to my father, and made special note of my dad, saying, this gentleman here has more education than more than half of the faculty, and here he is continuing with his education. And it doesn't have to be something that's a school or whatever. If you want to go take a pottery class, or you want to go learn how to speak in sign language, or whatever it is,
just keep learning.
It makes your day more interesting, and who wouldn't want their day to be more interesting in a good way?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so many things out there, and YouTube is a great resource, because you can learn about everything there. And but it's like this whole podcasting thing, everything I do on social media, and is all something that you just learn and kind of experiment with. But you're never too old. It may be harder, maybe when you get older, to learn stuff, but I don't really think it is. I don't think it's harder for me to learn something than it was when I was a kid.
It's just different.
It is different, and the world's different than when we were growing up.
Oh yeah.
And but it is something that it's the way, the direction the world's going, is to do this stuff that puts you out there to the world. For one thing, it's a world stage rather than just your local community when you worked, and this way you can get your dreams. I mean, there's so many things, many possibilities on this for getting your dreams. And there's so many people, coaches, classes, YouTube classes. You can create an app, which I think I'm going to be doing that. And I have a lady that is going to help me from Sweden, I think. So, which is cool. And but yeah, that intimidates me too. And she said it'd be a lot of work, but in the long run, it's good. But it's the learning, and the learning keeps, I believe, young, if nothing else, young at heart. And I think one thing about too old,
it's a great excuse.
Well, and who put the time period when it's too old? Who did? Just because the government says you're supposed to retire at this age, doesn't mean that is actually when you're old. And I've said this many times, that people in past history lived a much longer life than we do now. And so, I think, what is it? We were talking about Social Security. They wanted to make sure they weren't going to have to pay out on that, so they put,
Well, when they instituted it, it was the average age that people lived to was 64, and that instituted at 65. So yeah, they weren't planning on
they didn't want you
helping
to get
anyone.
that.
They just wanted to take money from people.
Yeah, and make you start feeling like you're old, because when you start feeling like you're old and acting old, you do become what you think about.
Oh heck, I'm sorry, but I get up in the morning and I have to do a whole lot of things because I've had injuries just to get up and stand up. Mm-hmm. But once I get going, and it's like, you have to fight against everything. Even kids have to fight against X, Y, and Z just to get through the day. It's life. And
it is. Everybody deals with something.
Pretend that you can sit in your house and do nothing and watch
garbage TV.
I can't. I just can't the game shows irritate me, and talk shows.
Those aren't many of those on. It's the other garbage that is pure evil.
And it's stupid, and
No.
it's so commercial, and
It's so
and
evil.
you're supposed to be so stupid as to not recognize that they're shoving merchandise at you. Things turn into a giant commercial where they're having the specials, and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
shut
and
up.
ungodly things too. There's so much
just
stuff
shut
on there
up.
that I won't watch. I won't have it in my house. So, but I'm not going to go that way because
Yeah.
we do that too much on our podcast.
I know,
So,
it's just one of my pet peeves.
yeah, we don't want to do that. So,
Yes, I know.
so, but anyway, learning
But,
is something you need to keep doing, and it's not. It's actually once you start doing it, it becomes almost addictive. And so, yeah, do that because that's how you get your dream life. Because you have to learn and become the person that will have the dream that you desire. That's the only way it works. Because you may want this dream of being whatever it is, but you won't know how to do that unless you go through the reps and the stuff, the process, the journey of learning what that person does day in and day out. Which, granted, it would be specific to each person. But on to the next thing. Don't have enough money. And Cheryl and I can tell you, you can do without a lot of money a lot of things. In the last year, we have learned how many things you can do without money. But and you're probably, unless you just do it, you're probably never maybe going to have enough money. The majority probably won't. You just make it, well, like when we had to pay for your cancer stuff. You just go and find it. You just do it, and it becomes non-negotiable. So money can stop you, and I can understand when you're a single mother or whatever with 3 or 4 jobs, whatever it is, single parent, it makes it tough, and it will be tough. But if you find the money for the other things, you need to find at least some money for improving yourself and getting the dream that you really, really are looking for.
Well, and it doesn't even have to be the money; it's the time. And yes, I understand, but 15 minutes every day adds up even.
Yeah, and I was going to go with time because that I don't have enough time is another one that people use to keep from getting their dream life because we're all super busy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a 24/7 society, and I think that is such a detriment to this world and the United States specifically because we're missing life. We're grinding, which is like she knows, and everybody that's watched me knows that's my trigger, one of my triggers, and we're missing life. So, and yeah, it is definitely more difficult to make a living because things have gotten so expensive. Let me tell you, it is expensive to live. But yeah, just take. Well, I will be writing a book. I'm putting that out there, and but I can't remember where I've talked to too many people. A lady the other day, and she's written a bunch of books. In fact, she liked doing the writing rather than doing something like this. And I said, and initially she didn't. And I said, how do you do it? How do you really, because I don't really care for writing much.
No, because he makes his wife do it.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. We had a newsletter for over a year, and I did it because it was supposed to be for him, but.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't deny that. I don't like writing.
I know.
But
you did try and make me write this book because it's not happening.
No, I won't. Nope.
I put that out there. You can do it.
No, you won't. And but it is even journaling. Everybody's like, you got to journal, and it's like I do it for a few days, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah, it's like a homework assignment that you
It is.
Do.
It's just like doing or even meditating. The people say meditating. It's like meditating for me is like this: being out on a beautiful day and where it's nice and it's pretty quiet here.
Well, and it's like I was talking to this person that I was saying that discovered that they're very ill, and I was telling her about this meditation kind of thing that I do, and I think a lot of times when you attach words to it and make a label for it, then it becomes intimidating.
Because I don't care for it.
No, I know that, Mark, but I'm just saying that I think that's what keeps some people away. Oh, I can't meditate. That's some yoga sitting in the forest going,
yoga,
with their fingers and stuff. And I was just telling her because I can't take pain medication, and I've had a lot of things that have been very painful in my life. And so I had learned this just out of pure desperation, but it's just a simple thing of breathing in and breathing out. And it gives you an idea of concentrating on something else. And I don't sit down and do it every day, but it's something that, if you're, going to like an interview or something and you're really upset or not upset, but nervous, and this is a big deal to you, and you feel like your body's all tensed up and you're not breathing really shallow and stuff, I just like breathe in 1, 2, 3, hold your breath 1,
You
2,
do it,
3,
yeah.
breathe out 1, 2, 3, and if I'm in a lot of pain, I'll close my eyes and do a visualization of
Oh, I do
1, 2,
visualization.
3,
Yeah.
and make the letters as elaborate as possible because it gives my mind something else to do. And I think that's most of what meditation is that you just concentrate on something small instead of all of the problems or all of the thing, and then you control your breathing, and that tells your body, okay, relax.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing we don't do is relax.
I would agree.
Relax, you have to be doing some kind of intense sport or relax, you have to do something that produces something. And for just the fact of being there and breathing in and out, I don't think we do much of that, and I think
And I
that
think
helps
it's
your
good
body to
on that
do
aspect.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I really do think that is. I just I would rather take a 5-6
Yeah,
mile
well,
walk,
that's your
run.
meditation.
Yeah, I would rather do
And
that where I'm just by me and
the
nature.
nature, yeah.
I like it a lot. So but
And again, it's just being with yourself and breathing in and out.
it is.
And
So
whatever it is that you can find to do that, if it's painting or if it's knitting or if it's, taking a bike ride,
yep.
then go for it.
And getting back, I didn't say what I was supposed to do for writing a book. I'm supposed to, she said to write 10,000 words a day for 3 days each week, and get to writing that every day. So I thought that was good advice. So, and that's another thing, you're not alone in this whole process of whatever that's kind of intimidating is, it can be intimidating. It's like, that's changing who I am. It's changing what I know myself as. And I get it. I mean, I was a handyman for 21 years, and it feels weird now when people ask me questions. Like I had the other day, this one place where there had been a big chunk taken out of the woodwork, and it's like, wow, I have to really think back because I did it for 21 years, but I'm not that person anymore, and it is intimidating. But there are people, so many people on this journey, of that want to self-improve. They want to. They're not making enough money on their whatever they're doing. They're not happy, which I would think would be a big share of the people in this country, what they're doing, and they're wanting to do it. And there are so many groups, Facebook groups. There's so many groups. Period. Meetups. There's just so many people that are doing this now, and and most of them, what I found, they always say Gen Zers or whatever. We're all alike. We're baby boomers.
A label again. That's what
it is. And don't just get rid of labels because baby boomers can do what Gen Z or Gen X or whatever,
Well, and vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. And don't let that be a reason that, because, they're pretty awesome. They really, there's a lot of people out there that just give you free content.
I'm sorry, but if a 5-year-old has superior knowledge in a deal, I'm going to let them go with it. Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, I'm not going to let them drive a car or whatever, but if you're someplace and they know what's what and you don't, you listen to them.
Exactly. But
that
it
might
is
be
intimidating because if you're our age, a lot of people our age wouldn't go and ask somebody that's, maybe 20, just starting out. It's like it would be intimidating because one thing, there would be that aspect. So, but
there's stuff we're not going to get, but they're not going to get some of the stuff we are, and so what?
No, that's true.
It's a general thing. When you get down to when you're in a certain person and a certain person,
I think we need to with the train. I think we have on this discussed this topic because there's actually a train coming in. We're going to be definitely in a second. So thank you for joining us on the Dreamcatcher podcast. Take care.